Hi, this is not a game dev log. With today an actual game dev log, I think. This past weekend I joined Ludum, which is a 48-hour game jam where you make a game in 48 hours, or if you want in 72 hours with a little bit less restrictions. Let's jump into the game. Start me. So the premise of the game is we get attack points and ability points and abilities, and we can restat that into our stat sheet. So some people already have called this like an Excel simulator, which I can understand the association. We start with 10 health. We are in the first round. There are 7 rounds. So maybe let's just add some max attack, some min attack, some more max attack, and we start to add our ability in the bottom row. When we start the fight, you will see what the meanings are for these rows. We add the block ability and we increase the min amount for the block ability. So we have so here we see our fight screen. It's I called it a semi-auto battler, which I found funny, but which I found funny. Mostly it's because I could have programmed it to automatically do the fight, but then it's even more confusing, I think. So that's something you have with the time restriction. So each turn of the fight, we resummon a card. So we have 10 health right now. Our opponent has 12 health, so it will pick a card from the row with the 1 10. I also haven't found a really good name for this. So, but because our health starts with a 1, we take it from the row that starts with the 1, and they will do 2, and it will pick randomly between the values, and then it will show the fight. So we have 2 attack, they have 1 attack, so we get attacked for 1, they get attacked for 2. You saw the health jump, and we go for another turn here. So now we will take a card from the second row, the zeros, which is stronger. So we now attack for 3 damage, they block for 1, we block for 1. Let's go again. So here you see that it's kind of an auto battler from this point on. We should be winning here if we don't have bad luck. I think it's maybe even impossible to lose here. We do 2 more damage and we get them to 0. Reward me. Back to the reset screen. So now we get a little bit more health. We get more points to spend. We get a new ability here, Desperation, which I will add to the 1 free slot here. Like this. Is it the best UX? No, that takes time. Drag and dropping takes time to implement. I'm very happy that I actually got something to work, that you can play, that you can beat, that you can lose. And that's, if you see other games and previous entries from myself, that's already very job well done, basically. So now I think block is more interesting to spend points on than the Desperation, which we already got 1 point. I think, not sure. I don't know what the best strategy is. I think there is some strategy. Right now the abilities are fixed. So I think to make the game more fun in the future, if it's fun enough to continue, of course you want to have more random abilities, more abilities, so that you can choose between abilities, maybe respec, although it's also very fun that you cannot respec. So we see our enemy also has Desperation, and Desperation means if you're behind in health, you can do extra attack. So here we rolled a Desperation 0 because it can be between 0 and 1. So we did not do any extra attack, but we could have done if we're Desperation 1 here. They block our attack, so let's see if we can get to a point where we can get them down to 0 or below, and now we do 1 Desperation damage. So we damage for 1 plus 2 is 3, and they damage us for 1. So now we're starting to catch up and maybe even overtake, because we have another Desperation damage. So we take them to 8, we're at 9, so we start blocking from here on. I think it's very nice to have the blocking in the last bottom row. And we continue the fight here. Let's just click through. I think we have this So I've added, from the top of my head, 4 abilities. So I think we will see a new ability, which is heal, which I think we will just add to the 2s row, the 20s row. Do we want to put... I think it's nice to put some ability points in desperation, but also some in block, so we spread those. As you can see, of course, the min cannot be higher than the max. Let's spread this a bit. Of course, this we will be much more often in the bottom row, so I think I will add some more points there. And we start with 20 health. We're going to the 3rd round. Animations, of course, is something that's very important for a game like this, to make it fun, to make it understandable. Also, sounds are part of that. So the whole visual but auditory process, the whole dopamine triggers, that's what makes these kind of games fun, together with figuring out the mechanics, figuring out the strats and the randomness. So with, I think in total I spent about 15, I think about 15 hours into this game. So I got to the point, like I said, where it's playable and it's decently fun. I think it's a unique mechanic, and at least it works. And I will show you after this run the steps in my head that show how I got here. So now we have a new ability, but we cannot spend it yet. So I think I'm going to upgrade desperation a bit, so I can do more attack, because most of the time I will be behind. When we get here, can I make it stat this so that the chances are bigger that I'm still ahead? I think by not statting a lot in the 20s and keep statting, I think the bottom one mostly, because we will be very quickly out of this one, because we don't block, and we will be for a long time in the zeros. So our enemy is always a bit more strong, or at least has a bit more health than us, and it does 5 damage now, because it pulls from 2 to 6. Not sure how readable this is. Probably not on mobile, but probably on desktop it's still readable. Let's see. So with 21 health they have 34, so we have to get them out of the 30s as quick as possible, but they keep healing back also. The main difference between healing and blocking is that healing can give you a net win in health, and blocking can only block some damage but can never go over the amount you've been hit for. Now we start doing some desperation damage. It's tough to come up with good names for the skills as well. I think there is a better name, but I could not come up with it in the time. So, and it's maybe a bit mysterious as well to find out what they actually do. Hopefully the animations from the kapow, ouch stuff makes it at least a little bit possible to figure out if you're interested enough to take the time. We're still behind, but we start doing a lot of damage. So we're at 6-7. They do some desperation damage. We're again at 6-7, but we hit for a lot more. They do a little bit of blocking, but I think we should get them here. Go into round 5. We get another desperation, but I think I like block more. So maybe I could decide to also stat up this row. So we try to keep for a bit in the 30s row, then drop down into the block row to finish it off. I think I still like desperation as well, because it can do so much damage. We have to see if this is a good strategy. This block already came with a 1-2. So I keep upgrading this block, do some more damage here, do some more damage here. Basically this range doesn't make a difference. So if it's 4-4 versus 2-6, on average it's the same. So it's basically whether you like some more randomness or not, if I think about it right now. So maybe there's some improvements as well to make that more fun. Maybe not allow to have the fixed number, to have the 4-4 where you're guaranteed it will be a 4-4. So here we do desperation 5. So that's a really big hit. So we hit for 9 there. They get into healing territory, but maybe we already get them out in one turn. They have a lot of desperation By the way, these enemies are fixed as well right now, so that will be something else to change. And of course the balancing, it's very rough because I didn't do a lot of play testing, and I think the most fun way for a short game, because I think you can finish the run in a couple of minutes. The most fun is basically if you lose once and then win, and then you get the nice experience for a game jam game for the players and the testers. Because let's see, what do we want to add here? So here we see our fourth ability, which is retaliate, which is like spike damage in some games. So we can hit back for as much as we have been hit with the maximum of the value here. So I think it's nicer to take this one than to take the desperation. And then do we want to put more stats into that? I don't think so. I think we want to do some in the blocking here, some more blocking here. The amount of points to spend is of course also part of the balance decisions you have to take. So I think I keep statting the ones with block. So where was I? I think I was with the balancing. So I just pulled some numbers out of my head. I played a run which I could win. I think I made it a little bit harder, then send it to a friend. They could still win because they're a god gamer, obviously. So I think if you have some experience with these types of games, the more strategy, deck builder kind of games, then maybe it's still on the easier side. But if you're a general gamer, then it might take a time to find the strategies. I'm very curious to see. So the premise of Ludum Dare is you get ratings. You can rate other people's games. So you have to at least get the minimum of 20 ratings to get a final rating. And the easiest way to get that is by rating other people's games, which I do look forward to. And I think I'm going to make some videos about that as well, as we are close but winning. So it's actually kind of worked out the way I set the enemies, because it feels it feels nice, because you start behind and then you can come back, although you basically get forced into as I now see that you cannot change the zeros, so that's a minor bug, not a crashing bug. But you get forced into using block on the last card, which I also think is the best strategy. But maybe it's a good thing that you cannot change it. Maybe it should even be more like that, because now you can just keep resetting one row, and it's very strong. So let's call this a feature. So what do I want to add? I can add. So I will start behind, so I can add a desperation, or I can start a heal. I think I will go for a heal, because that means I can keep longer in the 50s, because but that means we have to heal more than they will hit us for. Let's go for the max randomness, add some more block. We get a lot of points to spend here, so I think we want to put more attack stats here, and also add some randomness here. So we could have a very good start if we hit the high heal and the high attack, but we also can drop down very quickly, probably into the 30s. Let's see. So this is the final boss, which has the same name as all others, because that takes time to implement. It has start with 100 health, which is insane, of course. I'm trying to make it a bit more spectacular. It has very high numbers. Let's see how this goes. So we start doing a lot of damage, and also it's good, I think, that it starts with a lot of damage, because otherwise the fights can take very long. We did not stay in the 50s for very long. We are in the 30s already, so we hope our blocking keeps us there for a long time, so we can do some hard hits. We are still at 34, 79, 33, 76. Because it's block, we cannot go back up again. So we do have to try to block everything, which we do here. which we don't do here. So we are 1 down, but we are chipping away at the big boss. We block everything again, but they do heal. Can we block 6? We can't, so we are 1 down again. And they are into their 50s with desperation, which will not do anything because they're still higher health than us. And we drop out of our 30s very soon. But we did manage to get a lot of their health down. But they do hit very hard right now, and they have the retaliation as well, so it would almost be best to not hit them. Of course, there's not a lot of influence I can have on this game. I'm actually curious to see if I win. I think it should be an easy win every time, but now I'm going to get afraid. We do attack for a lot, but they are still in retaliation, and they have to get out of retaliation very quick. So they are now, but we take a lot of damage. So it all comes down to our blocking abilities, and like before, we cannot heal ourselves back up. So we have to block everything and hit very hard. And the last thing we can, but can we block all damage? We block everything here. So there's 4 to 14. We block everything here. It's 4 to 8, so I think we got this in the bag. And we do. So, we're 1 more hit, but we block everything. So now we do. And I beat the game. Thanks for playing. Let me know your thoughts. Well, yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'll leave the link in the description so you can play it. So for the game devlog part, let me show you the intermediate steps that were taken to get to the result I showed you just now. So first I did a mock-up of the basic mechanic where your health decides the attack value. So I did this in JavaScript. As you can see here, every health value has a different attack value. There are no abilities yet, but we can simulate the fight by clicking next turn. Of course, everything is still fixed here. But yeah, it shows a little bit of the basic mechanic. But I was thinking, well, this almost becomes like a puzzle game. And I want it to be more like a strategy, battling, deck builder, auto battler game, and not a puzzle game. Although I could have gone that direction, of course. And then I was thinking, well, what makes the difference? And to me, the difference actually was randomness. So if the attack values aren't fixed, or if the attack values are fixed, then you can basically just predict the whole program, and it becomes almost like a programming game, which can be fun. So I played some Zachtronic games, if anybody knows them. They are a bit like that. But I thought, well, we need a random, some randomness, and why not have a min-max attack value like you saw in the actual game. And then also I figured out it could be fun to have stay longer in the different regions. So I basically 10-folded all the health counts like you see. So that was the first step. So here's the first mock-up of the fighting part of the game, which I made the whole game in Godot 3. There is a Godot 4, but I already used the Godot 3, and a game jam is never a good moment to try new tools. So I'm not sure if this is a version that actually does something, but the git commit is called simulate one hit. So let's see. I think it did simulate a hit. We can see here is 0 to 2 attack, 0 to 2 attack. So the whole layout is still different, but this is the health and this is the card. So here we are a bit further. So you can see that now the attack as the actual value, not the range here. We can see that we switched around a little bit the numbers. So because the health is the most important, I think we changed the naming to be 10x, which I really last second change because it's confusing. X of course means 10, and it also can mean just a random number, but it also sounds like times, so 10 times, which is too confusing. So I think it's a bit better in the end. Let's see. We have now a little bit of animation of the card drawing or summoning, so I can fit it into the theme. this is the first version with an ability. We have the heal ability, which shows up in the description of the card. We can heal for 2. Can we see it happening? So we are going to attack for being attacked for 3 and heal for 2. So we expect to end up in 89, which we do. So I've changed the colors a bit to maybe make more clear, hopefully, that it's 2 different players we're facing. And I've added the animations here, because I think it's tough to make clear what's actually happening and also to make it a little bit more fun. The first iteration I did the ordering the other way around, so I showed the damage, then redrew the card. But I think this is a lot better. So we get the card. Hopefully you can quickly scan what's happening, then see here. I think this is almost the final state of the animations, and then see the health updates. Here I started working on the shop screen or the restat screen. So that also gives a little bit of insight in the order of how I tend to prototype this thing. I think the fight is the most important because that shows the mechanics, and I already had in my head that there had to be a shop screen, but I could just put in some random numbers for testing there. And this actually works. Oh, and this is an iteration where you had to spend all your attack points. So that's something that changed later as well. So I think most people, and the best strategy will be to spend all attack points, but you can also keep them, just like you can keep the new abilities. So we're now very close to the final version. I've added the start screen, which is more important than you think. And it takes a little bit of time, but I think that actually makes the difference between a finished game, which you can play. Also, I've made a game over screen here. I don't think you could win here, actually. And it's quite hard to lose, so I'm just clicking buttons here. So you just have to believe me that you can lose and you can restart. I made a system where I could design enemies based on some JSON. So it could be moddable as well, or at least easily changed. So there's a whole row of enemies which have a starting health and have their cards and abilities. So here I've defined the rewards basically. So these are the starting healths for every turn, the new attack points, the new ability, and the abilities that you actually get. So these are the points and these are the new abilities for every turn. And these are the abilities right now. So the system is built in a way that it's quite easy to add abilities, I think, and you could also add some randomness here. The biggest reason I did not do it yet, so that perhaps after winning the second fight you not always get heal, but you get the choice between 2 or you get a random one, is mostly because you also have to design the whole screen. So I was able to add these 4 abilities or 3 abilities in under an hour. Of course, I think right now the most difficult part is coming up with interesting abilities, and also the fact that you have to animate them as well, the more complex they get. But this leaves a lot of room for future ideas, I think. And here we are at the final version. I've added in a tutorial here. It's one of the more difficult things as well, and you could do it a lot nicer, but at least I think if people are willing to read more than 3 words, they could figure out the game from this, or just by playing. I hope this was an interesting insight in the steps I took to design this game. Like I said, I think I spent about 15 hours in total in 3 sprints. I'm very proud of what I managed to get, a playable game, which I think has some fun, has some emotion, which are the interesting parts, which has a new mechanic. So that's fun. If you're interested in more like this, or just in some plain old Super Autopad run, like, subscribe, comment. I'm also making another game, which I spent more than 15 hours on. It's called Auto Forest Food Fight, and it's inspired by my love for Super Autopads. It's a short and fun auto battler, asynchronous, and you're a bear that eats and throws foods. I'll also leave a description of that, or you can see it in other videos, and it would be very fun to get some feedback on that. Thanks for watching.